Ladies and gentlemen, hope you have enjoyed your coffee break, short but sweet. Now, let us resume the session and move on to the introduction. Next speaker. Now, did you know that Korea also has a state-of-the-art baseball stadium, even comparable to any MLB ballpark? And I am talking about Changwon NC Park. It has all these audience-friendly features, structure, all the embedded technology that is simply just amazing. Now, our next speaker is with a global architecture design firm called Populous, specializing in creating venues that draw people together. Now, its projects include NC Park, and a whopping 70% of all MLB stadiums, also 2012 London Olympics master planning and main stadium. Impressive to say the least. Now, we would like to call to the stage our next speaker, who is Mr. James Smith. He leads the Asia Pacific team at Populous. And the title of the presentation would be Smart Stadiumless Consumer and Experience. Hope we can ask him to the stage. Big round of applause. 네, 제임스 스미스님을 큰 박수로 맞아주시기 바랍니다.
Thank you very much, and thank you very much to the organizers and the attendees today. Change before you have to. It's a famous quote by Jack Welch, who used to be the former CEO of General Electric. We are living in a changing world as the lines between digital and physical are blurred. At the moment, our firm works in the stadium design, arena design, convention center space, as well as high performance sport. And the talk today is about focusing on the customer journey in the physical environment. So the previous discussions today have been really insightful from a data perspective, but what our job is to do is to try and make these journeys seamless through the physical environment. So we're a global firm. Headquarters for the Asia Pacific region is in Brisbane, which is where I'm based. I look after customer experience and commercial activation for our business, but we work all over the world. Our firm was founded in 1983. We've delivered over 3,000 projects around the world across a range of different spaces, such as Yankee Stadium in New York, Wembley Stadium in London, O2 Arena, T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. We also do a lot of work in the Olympic Games environment, so we've been helping Paris for the 2024 Olympics. NC Dinos, which is obviously here in Korea, great stadium. The lead architect for that building is actually sitting in the front there. Philippine Arena, Leon, some work in film at the moment. We do work in obviously the tennis environment, and Nanjing Sports Park, Suncorp Stadium in Brisbane. We do a lot of work in the Super Bowl, so we do a lot of the planning for the Super Bowl. We've been doing the planning for the last 35 years. Major League Baseball, and obviously this is the new jewel in the crown, the recently opened Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, which is I guess the new benchmark in stadium experience, and certainly a lot of technology and customer insight that's gone into this facility. We've also done work in Malaysia and KL Sports City, as well as convention work in Sydney. And this is a new project that's recently started in Hong Kong on the old airport site called Kai Tak. It's a new 50,000 seat retractable roof with an arena, retail center. It's a $3.8 billion development that we have started this year. So really redefining, I guess, the future of community engagement, fan experience, and actually blending this social infrastructure into the urban environment. As I mentioned, we work in the Olympic Games and a lot of work around helping organizations bid for major events. This is the new speed skating oval for the 2022 Winter Olympics in Beijing. So the customer. The customer in 2019 has got a lot going on. They have many different applications and different systems and processes that are interacting with them. What our goal is to try and understand is to design seamless experiences in venues. They're distracted. They have a lot of things that they're looking at, from content distribution through many channels that we've listened to earlier today. As stadium owners and operators, our role is to bring more fans to games to create and enhance this live event experience. We talk about the utility and technology and how this utility needs to be seamless. How do we provide certain experiences to customers in these environments? When we think about the lenses that apply from a technology perspective in stadium, from an infrastructure perspective, from a services or a software perspective, or from the customer experience itself, how do we blend all of these three narratives together? Sorry. We talk about the next generation of consumer, the experientialists. So a lot of the work that we do is to understand not necessarily the quantitative data, but the qualitative data. What are people doing? Why are they doing it? How do we actually understand their behaviors? So as this new generation comes through, we need to be focused on designing experiences that are more social. We talk about competing or just interested. There are so many different competing platforms out there, competing experiences, competing attractions that consumers are engaged with. How do we deliver the right narrative at the right time for the right customer? We do a lot of work in customer segmentation, and again, a lot of the information that we've heard today is really focused on the quantitative data. We spend a lot of time observing customers in these environments to understand their certain behaviors. So this is a model that Forresters uses, which is the customer segmentation model, basically recategorizing a lot of the customer profiles, from progressive pioneers to savvy seekers to convenience conformers. So trying to understand the individual behaviors that these consumers are displaying allows us to make the right decisions from a design perspective. We also see a lot of this at the moment in the world. A lot of stadiums that are empty because people can watch content anywhere, on the move, on the go. I guess the segmentation or the fragmentation of media is so prolific at the moment that us as stadium owners are really trying to understand how we can create, in essence, what we say, more social experiences, more reasons to bring people back to the game, to actually maximize the opportunity of having a live event experience. Still one of the most powerful face-to-face engagement moments is being able to see your favorite team score a goal. We also look at the preference of fans in these environments or customers in these environments, not just fixated on going to the game and sitting in their seat. They want to go and experience things in the stadium. So how do we give them a range of different product offerings? Product offerings that are matching to particular price points and particular environments. And again, that's the work that we do around customer behavior and profiling. We also see sports as global. It's organic. It's ubiquitous. Everybody's got a device. How do we release those devices in some way and actually get people to look up in the environment, and engages in these environments such as stadiums and arenas. There's some big things coming up, in particular, the Internet of Things and some of the Wi-Fi enhancements that are coming into facilities. In essence, stadiums are becoming state-of-the-art entertainment and media hubs. We see the sports industry growing significantly in the future, but the investment required in terms of technology infrastructure is also significant and also has a lot of risk associated with it if you don't get it right. In America at the moment, Verizon seems to be doing a lot of movements within the 5G space. Again, having 10 NBA arenas going to be online for the next season, looking at rolling out 5G to 32 NFL stadiums. This is going to be a game changer from a technology perspective, because the speeds that we can generate and the connectivity and the latency within these environments with 5G is pretty significant and will provide a lot of other opportunities for customer engagement. So I guess the key to transformation is merging advanced digital connectivity at venues with unprecedented services and experiences from an ecosystem of partners. And I'll talk to you about that a little bit later on. When we think about the ecosystems, there are so many players that are within the sports landscape, or the entertainment landscape for that matter. And there are so many different plugins and applications that can impact a seamless customer journey within the venue. In essence, the open platform for stadium. This is this interconnected city. How do we provide services that are inside the stadium, but that are also able to leverage some of the services that are outside the stadium? So when a fan is inside a stadium, they're able to easily see what the traffic issues are when they might be leaving, or the transport issues. So really having clarity around how we actually merge, I guess, the single view of the customer. The biggest challenge that we certainly have, and that was evident today, is this narrative around who controls the data. Does the stadium control the data? Does the football team control the data? Are there opportunities to share data? And we see this quite extensively within the airport or aviation environment, where the airlines don't want to give any access to the airports in terms of data sharing, because ultimately you want to control the customer. This is just a few slides on some of the new technology that's being deployed in venues around the world. This is interesting. In Angel Stadium in Anaheim, they're looking to deploy their own private network. So in essence, they're not going to be relying on the public or the Wi-Fi system. They're going to have their own control system within the venue, and in essence, it's going to offer greater security, certainly lower latency, and enhanced customer experiences. Tottenham Hotspur, as I've mentioned, fast, scalable, and resilient technology platform designed to enhance the fan experience, and this is delivered through efficiency through a centralized operations and control management system. And this is just a view of how they look at their operations and infrastructure from an audio-visual perspective, a layer around infrastructure and operations, and certainly multiple areas around fan experience plugin. Dodger Stadium, looking at robotics. Again, when certain F&B outlets are under stress with a lot of people, you're looking at robot technology to actually help deal with the additional flows that are happening during that time. So this is all about operational efficiency, and also to ensure that the delivery of the product or the F&B service to customers is seamless as such. Again, we talk about frictionless experience. This is the new SoFi Stadium in Los Angeles. Again, 2,500 access points, running Wi-Fi 6. Again, the speeds are going to be enormous, and again, able to run higher, immersive applications, higher reliability, and certainly less impact on users' batteries. This is a recent execution that the Dallas Cowboys did. Again, looking at augmented reality. This has generated a whole lot of impressions from a social media perspective. And again, it's just differentiating the in-person experience for fans. Golden One Center, in some ways, this is probably one of the leaders in technology integration and fan experience. Their systems are pretty incredible, tapping into a whole range of different platforms. And again, it's all about enhancing that customer experience, knowing exactly what that customer wants, serving them the right product at the right time, at the right frame of mind from a customer engagement perspective. SunTrust Park, again, the amount of infrastructure that's gone into this venue, 12.5% of their total budget went into technology. 200 gigs of internet bandwidth, many access points, powered screens. The plethora of technology is quite amazing. CenturyLink, again, we're looking at biometrics that's coming up as well, and certainly there's lots of trials that are happening around FMB using fingerprints, but again, we envisage this to certainly accelerate and mature over the short term. This is a project that we're working on in Las Vegas and London. This is called the MSG Sphere. This is a 18,000 seat arena, completely surrounded by LED exterior as well as internal LED panels. Really going to reimagine the whole live event experience. Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta, they've got incredible technology with the 360 Halo board, a lot of access points, significant speaker systems, and again, just all about providing the seamless experience around all the touch points. So when you look at all the inputs around technology and some of the applications, you can see that there's an enormous amount of data that's out there. And I think how venue owners and operators harness that data is a critical thing. As you can see, there's some of these applications are being tested and certainly will get to maturity in the short to medium term. As we see moving forward from a digitization, a mobilization, a globalization perspective, and a personalization around customer engagement, that's the key here, is to deliver personal experiences and again, seamless experiences. As we see virtual reality and mixed reality, in essence, we look at the AR and the VR market, the numbers are staggering. In essence, in the future, we might not need prescription glasses because VR and AR technology is going to be so good. And again, we're looking at 8K video, pure 20/20 vision of everything that's going to be rendered. Again, with this advancements of technology, we see smart devices that are just going to rechange the game in some regards. This is a big thing for us, is looking at this merge in between the physical world and the digital world, and how we actually respond to those unique needs. This is an example of a customer insight for Las Vegas that spoke about people wanting social experiences. So we created this viewing deck right at the top of the stadium. So looking at the most underutilized area of the stadium to create a new revenue stream in essence, but a new social experience. All about trying to provide a new environment for fans to get closer to the content or to the show at least. So again, constantly thinking about how do we create more social experiences, understanding customer behavior and segmentation. Another one to look at is just how the 5 senses, in essence, are becoming part of the norm. And we see this in the retail space around how we're creating the journey in the retail environment from a sight, touch, hearing, taste, and smell perspective. Again, we're seeing this transition into the environments that we work in. And certainly this cognitive notion around machine learning and some of the artificial intelligence that's out there. Again, the focus is to try to deliver that seamless experience and use these applications in the right way so that we can make sure that that journey in and out of a venue is seamless. We also talk about the digital twin, representations of digital things. And again, we're seeing this technology evolve in certain aspects at the moment. Earlier there was some commentary about intelligent virtual assistants. Again, voice is going to be a huge generator of customer engagement, and it's certainly a platform that we're looking at in the physical environment from a stadium design perspective. Geofencing, quite a lot of stadiums are using this already, but again, it's certainly a technology that's looking to mature and looking to capitalize on some of those other moments. And other one that we're just not really aware of right now is the blockchain technology and what that's going to mean for a stadium perspective and a customer engagement perspective. So if we think about the challenges, there's so much data that's out there. There's so many applications that are out there. There's technology hardware. There's layers of technology hardware. There's the hardware that sits inside the facility. There's hardware that sits outside the facility. Then we've got all the additional plugins from other service providers that sit in the city-wide from a major ecosystem perspective. So I think the narrative that we have is more qualitative data. We need to do more investigations. We need to understand why consumers are behaving the way that they're behaving. We need to also think about the seamless customer experience. We spend a lot of time mapping the individual touch points that a customer might have, thinking about what the customer is doing, what are they thinking, how are they feeling, understanding their pain and gain points, understanding what systems and processes they're interacting with. This work for us is extremely granular and it allows us to actually understand where the friction points are, where we might need to slow people down entering a facility or keep them in an area longer so that we can capitalize on the potential revenue opportunity that might sit within the environment. We need to be aware of the fact that there's competing interests for consumers' time. We live in a highly complex environment at the moment where stadiums are certainly under the pump in certain areas in terms of driving consumer engagement and driving revenue. I think it's also important to have a platform approach and starting with the customer, starting with the user, because in some regards, just deploying the technology system is probably not the most prudent way. So we like to reverse engineer that from that perspective. How you control the data, again, I think there's a point where we need to be sharing a lot more data, and I think the stadium owners and operators need to be aware of that as well in terms of how we all capitalize on driving engagement and driving better utilization of venues. We're constantly looking at behavior changes. Within my team, we have people such as design anthropologists who study human behavior. So again, looking at the key elements around customer behavior and doing a lot of work on that segmentation. Some of the certain other aspects around investment costs, technology is certainly expensive, and I think there's been a few cases where people have layered technology over other technology, which in essence has delivered not a solid kind of seamless experience from that perspective. I've spoken about mapping the user journey, but really having a granular view of the user and how they interact with the stadium or venue and how they interact with the system that might be inside there. And again, we talk about minimizing stress levels. How can we bring the stress level down in these environments so that the journey can be seamless? And I think the key thing is working out what is the customer proposition. We spend a lot of time trying to think about having this frictionless journey, having this journey where the customer is not necessarily thinking about the technology. It's a seamless experience within the venue and having that granular view. So I have gone a little bit quicker, but nevertheless, the data will tell you what, but to understand your customers, you need to investigate the why through a combination of techniques, including more qualitative data. And that's the key for us, is having a qualitative insight into customer preferences, customer behavior, and working out how we can create the right experiences matched to those customer behaviors. For us, that's how we deliver a seamless technology experience or stadium experience where the customer is not thinking about the technology. It just blends into the environment. Thank you.